Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2016 movie Captain America Civil War. So, this movie follows after the events of Avengers Age of Ultron and some of the other MCU movies. The world governments have decided that the Avengers should be kept under watch and sign the Sokovia Accords, which means that they're only going to be allowed to go in and fight when the government sees fit. And this causes a division between the Avengers, with Tony Stark believing that they should go along with the Accords, and Captain America believing that going along with the Accords is a very bad idea and everything, because if the government's running the Avengers, then it could be a disaster, which it is. And in between all of this, Bucky Barnes is accused of using a bomb that kills Wakanda's King T'Chaka, and so Captain America is also having to try to help save Bucky from the government, who's wanting to imprison him, and he's trying to prove his innocence and stuff, but also they're on the run from the government now because he's helping him and stuff. And we get this really awesome fight scene at the airport that is just really great. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie that shouldn't be able to work in a movie and everything, because there's so much going on. It shouldn't be able to work, and you would think it would feel over bloated and all that, but this movie really doesn't do that. But it has some really great moments. It all comes down to the big finale where we find out that Bucky is the one that killed Tony's parents. So we get this big battle between Bucky, Iron Man, and Captain America, and it's a pretty fun scene and everything. It's also kind of a sad scene to watch, though, watching these best friends go from best friends to wanting to kill each other and stuff. But it all comes down to being the motivation of Baron Zemo, who is the main villain of the movie, and I gotta say he's one of the best villains in the MCU. Personally, he's one of my favorite villains. I think he's pretty underrated and everything. He doesn't do a lot, like he doesn't fight them or anything physically, but he is a really great villain because he is able to get his motivations done, and he actually wins in the end by dividing the Avengers even more than they already were. They were already starting to be divided before he came around, and after he got done with them, they were even more divided, and I thought that was pretty cool. And his motivations are really good. He actually has some of the best motivations for a villain in the MCU too. Like, he's out of line, but he's right, is what Sam Wilson would say. But he actually had a good reason for doing what he did and everything. I'm not saying what he did was right, but it's understandable why he did what he did once you know his story and everything, and how he lost his family in Sokovia because of the Avengers. But this is like I said, it's easily one of my favorite MCU movies. I just absolutely love this movie. You got all this stuff in the story going on. It's just so well written, and it's a sequel to both Avengers Age of Ultron. It has stuff going on from its storylines. It's a sequel to Captain America the Winter Soldier, and it does a great job being a sequel to both of those movies and stuff, while also being its own thing and everything. This is still very much Captain America's story, even though all the Avengers are in it. And I really like that a lot too. And I love like how great the friendship between Steve and Tony is written and stuff. So when you do get to that final battle between the two of them at the end of it, you feel really bad for their friendship and everything they've gone through since the beginning of the movie, and it just works really well and everything. And this is also the one where we get introduced to two of the best MCU characters, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which is a really great introduction for him. I loved his introduction, and we see him for the very first time during that airport scene, which is one of my favorite scenes, when Tony goes under rubes and he appears and steals Captain America's shield. Just love that scene and everything. But the entire airport scene is just one of the best scenes in the entire MCU, and probably my second favorite scene in the entire MCU after the big battle in Avengers Endgame. But it's just a lot of fun and everything, and you get Ant-Man in here getting to interact with these characters for the first time, and the introduction to the late great Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa, which is a really great introduction for him too, and everything. He's great as Black Panther, and this was my first time watching it since he died, so it's kind of sad going back and watching it and knowing that he's gone and stuff, but I thought he was great in this movie, and all the movies that he played Black Panther in. He was always really great in those movies, and this one's no exception. It was a great introduction to him, and I knew that from the introduction in this movie that he was going to become one of my favorite characters, and he easily did, and everything. But yeah, like I said, this is just a really fun movie. It has a lot of just really fun moments, but it has some good emotional moments too, and a lot of crazy decisions that ripple throughout the MCU that is still going on to this day and stuff. Some of the effects and stuff that this movie had on the Avengers and other stuff in the MCU, but it's still a really, really great movie, and every time I watch it, I always love it. I've never had a bad experience watching this movie. It's just a lot of fun and everything. So I'd say I'd give Avengers, I almost said Avengers Age of Ultron. Sorry. Captain America Civil War, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It's one of the rare MCU movies that I would do that with. There's only like maybe a handful of them that I'd give a full 10 out of 10. But this is definitely one of them, because there was nothing about this movie that I can say I disliked. I was never bored, and to me it's just one of the most intriguing movies in the entire MCU, and it's been one of my favorites ever since it first came out. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Captain America Civil War, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.